everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. We are going to work on this beautiful purple tone landscape in watercolor, and I'm going to work on cold press 9 by 12 inches paper. So I stick it to the board with paper tape, and we need the brush. I'm going to work with a larger size of brush and one pointy and smaller one for a little bit details. And we have a palette of our paint. I have lots of different colors here, but we don't need much of them. So we just need a light blue color for the top of our sky. The further landscape, it's a bunch of trees, and it's a purpley bluey. So we have cobalt blue, we have purple. If you don't have any purple, you can use the alizarin or permanent rose to make this pinky and reddish warm color till here. And it's like a foggy day, and here is so brighter and lighter, then melt into the snowy landscape that we are having here. And then the nice beautiful trees on the stands, and the fence we are going to add this footstep that's visible, and a little bit touch of purple on top of our snow. So I'm not using any tape or masking fluid even to keep this white color in between. I feel I need to finish it, and then later with some touch of white acrylic I can bring them back. So I'm going to start to pre-mix the paint. First of all, let me put this aside, and we are going to mix a little paint together. We need rag or napkin, and we need glass of water to have easily surface to clean our brush and mix our paint. So we need to add a drop of water in the paint to make it fresh, and bring it on center of our palette. You can dilute the hair of brush like this into the paint and bring it close to be ready like that. So the paint is ready with the blue, but I don't want to, because all the sky color is smooth and soft, so prefer to pre-mix purple as well and the cobalt blue, then start wet the paper and apply on a paper. So this is a cobalt blue color. We have lots of cobalt blue in the nature after the sky. So I dilute and hold the hair, bring it close to us. Every time I would like to change the color, clean the brush with the water, and then bring another paint into my palette. So, and the purple. So everything is ready here, and wet on this part. Clean the brush very well, then try to wet the surface. I'm not wet all the part. I just imagine, I'm not doing drawing, I imagine here is the part which is good for the sky and the stance. So I'm not wet the bottom part, just the top part, because when the paper is wet, it's easier to apply paint on top, and there is no edge create on watercolor. So first of all, we need to wet the paper very well, like a nice curvy landscape like that. And then when it's shiny, it's a good time to apply with the paint. First of all, I'm going to start with this paint, the blue on top. Very gently, if it's not much, apply with the pure paint more, because already we wet the surface and our paper is so watery. So the water can easily move on the paper. Back and forth until feel happy with the blue line in the sky. I don't want to make it very dark. I'm happy with that. It's nice to be smooth, soft, and nice watery blue color. Then I'm applying with purple. Purple is good for landscape, so you can do like that. Play with the paint. Play with the paint So smooth and soft. Please now pay attention to the trees it's in front. Just with the nice brush stroke, make the stems a little bit purple tone. I see some pinky tone in between, so I'm having a little bit rosy color, which is permanent rose. Bring some permanent rose at the same time in between the trees, just randomly. And we need to have rag or napkin always in our hand, because sometimes the water is a lot, so I don't want damage the painting with the lots of water. Even we can let the napkin absorb some paint like this in between especially, and everything is really wet, so we don't need to make it wet again. I mix purple with the blue because I would like to have darker tone to make the shape of trees on the stems. Diluted with less paint, less water this time, and more paint. And with the tip of brush, I try to shape the trees. If it's too dark, because it's wet, they can melt together very well. So just play with the tip of brush to shape a bunch of trees and the stems. Make sure it doesn't need to be really dark, because we would like to show it's on the stems. Just with the straight brush, with the just back and forth with the left and right brush stroke, make the purple move on the background. We can use the purple tone that we already add on our paper, and we can bring some more bluey purple as well on top, with no water this time. If your paper is wet, you can see very gently they blend very well together. Now here I divided in two different sections. And all this happened when the paper still be wet and give us a nice result. And you see I'm not adding any water in my purple now. It's just dry brush stroke, because already the paper is really wet. I don't need much water. Okay, I think we are fine. If we have lots of water and paint here, just with napkin, clean napkin, very gently smooth, touch it and let the paint absorb with napkin. And then we need to wait everything get completely dry and be ready for next layer. Okay, now the background is completely dry now. It's a little bit lighter after it gets dry. We need to apply just a bit with a warmer and darker color on the background. As the trees, it's okay, we can do it right now. And we can add some nice and purpley tone on a snow. Then the footstep, the rest of the beautiful background. So let me apply with this colors again on here. With the same brush, but this time the paper is dry, we are not making it wet again, so we apply with nice and warm purple. This purple I'm going to use is more reddish purple, so I have alizarin crimson, I have permanent rose. I can mix with the purple and make it a little bit red, and I apply, just touch the napkin to absorb. I don't want to have a fresh paint to let it come front. I would like to be a little bit lighter, dark, colorful, but still be in the background. Because of that, I apply very gently on a paper. It's already because of those plain paint on background. I keep those, and I'm adding some more paint in front, a little bit. When it's wet, add a little reddish color here, tip of brush, especially here is more. And please not let this part dry. I would like clean the brush very well, touch the napkin. I would like to make it smooth. I don't want to see hard edge in my painting, especially on the landscape, which is on distance. We don't want to see hard edge. Clean the brush, touch the napkin with no water, very smoothly touch the edge. And let it blend to this background like that. So even here we don't want to see, and you need to do it when it's wet, because when it gets dry, again, nothing happens. So on the other side, more paint, touch napkin always to make a little bit less water in my paint. Sometimes it's okay, you can use whole the back of brush. Even here we need to bring a little bit darker tone on top, so we don't need to be worried about the bottom part of our trees. Okay, so leave it like that. And still I'm not adding the trees in front because the purple tone is wet, so I would like to let it dry, and then I'm going to add the trees in front. Again, a little bit more purple. Touch here, maybe here I would like to add some more. For the first layer we apply with lots of water, it's okay, but for the second layer we are not adding water in the background, or very less in brush, and always control with napkin like that. And then we are applying with warm purple, a little bit watery brush stroke. Even here, if you see it's really dark purple, clean your brush, touch again. When it's dry, we can do everything. We can remove this dark color by adding more water in our brush, touch the napkin, and let it play in our landscape. Some purple tone, because the snow is not completely sharp white color. In some case there is a bluey, there is a purpley tone is visible, and that's enough for the landscape. Okay, now the background is okay and enough, and we are on a stage that adding this lovely trees a little bit in front, and it's really darker. So the technique is the same like that, but the colors are so much darker. So I clean here. I'm going to still use purple because purple is dark, and beside that ultramarine blue or cobalt blue is good enough to mix with, but I'm not adding a lots of water in my brush, just enough water to make the paint wet. And the brown color, I have Payne's gray, and Payne's gray is like a black color. It's dark. If you have Payne's gray, that's a good option. Make it colorful. Payne's gray, blue or purple all together make the color darker. Or if you don't have any Payne's gray, brown. Brown is warm and colorful and dark as well. So use very less water and more pigment, because we would like to make the trees in front darker, and in watercolor it's better to use less paint, and more water for the background for the first layer, and on the other side more paint or pigment and less water when we are going to apply the last layer and the front. Okay, and then with a smaller brush, we have enough water in the paint. It's move easily, but it's not watery. Diluted, hold the hair off brush, and then with the tip of pointy brush, we are drawing the line first, like this, and then add the details of the branches. When you are coming down, you can use the side of brush, which is bigger size and easier. And we are going to use different size, small, long, for the trees, close together, and a little bit with the stems. It's like a cone tree, so it looks like a triangle shape. The tip is pointy on top, but when we come down, it gets fat. So just make sure on the top of our painting we are not using a lots of water. We try to use more pigment because we would like to have darker tone. When you add a lots of water, the pigment is less and the water is more, and then you have watery brush stroke and the colors are so lighter. And the other things we need to know about watercolor is less is more. So we don't need to work a lot because it easily can damage the paper. So we need to know the paper, the habit of our paper, and use less paint. Try to make it so smooth, so soft, and not add and overwork on our painting. One smaller, and then just one or two here in front, but they are so shorter. If you see, smaller. Even this one is not much dark. I'm going to add more paint. If you want to have lighter color, you need to use watery stroke. That's help the tree go to the background more. So make the ground a little more darker. I would like to make it and shape it more flat. And clean the brush very well. And I'm going to add a little bit like a bushes, but watery stroke helped me have lighter tone. Always, you see, napkin is helpful. And the side of brush, dry brush stroke, shape it very lovely and sweet. Okay. Now we are okay. We can add fence on top and then footstep with a little bit like a grass here. And the grass is dark. We can use just the brown and black even. With the same brush, I'm going to use the tip of brush, add some wintry grass that it's not diluted with the heavy paint. It's just a little bit just like that. For footstep, we can use more purple even. And the way is like this. Here, just some brush stroke. Further, a little bit narrow. In some case, there is just one. Here, or even with this part of the napkin which is clean, we can touch it and reduce the darkness a little more. Like that. And then in front, I'm going to use some shape of randomly the grass and landscape. I would like to make the color a little bit lighter, so I add a drop of water and try to shape this way a little like that to add a tone. Even I'm touching with napkin to make it lighter. I don't want to start from here for the footstep and then leave it. I want to show that it's go to the stance and landscape. And even here in front, make it lighter and add some stroke as well. Okay, that's enough. Now we are going to add the fence. And the fence is, the fence is darker here, and in between it's lighter and the white color when it goes there. So here is wet. We have to wait everything get dry and be ready for that. But the front it's longer and darker. I'm going to add those. And for further, which is lighter and the white color, we are going to use acrylic or gouaches. So again, the same color, purple, blue, if you have paints gray, and if not, just the dark brown. Make the color really dark, touch napkin, small brush. The fence in front is more longer. Put here, bring it down. One side, put here, bring it down. Different angle. When we go further, it gets shorter. Even close to this grass we can add more, and I can connect the fence together with the tip of brush. And it's not really sharp like that. I'm going to add some white color on top. For having an idea, I'm drawing a small line as a fence, but I'm sure I have to make them lighter color like a white. Okay, and I think that's enough. You have to wait it get dry and then apply with white color on top. Okay, the last thing is apply with the white color, and I'm going to use acrylic paint for that. Use a small brush, narrow brush, pointy, and I'm going to add some white color somewhere beside the fence and make it in some cases still wet, and it mixed with the purple, but that's okay. Even here I'm going to add to show that it's covered with the snow. And even on further we can add some details. Still wet, we can a little bit make for wait for some of them, but randomly add. When you're further need smaller, apply. And it's so narrow. And again, I would like to add some branches a little bit lighter, like pure white color. Not from top to the bottom, a little bit on the bottom is more interesting to be lighter. And even we can shape the bird with white color. Tiny bird, not really huge, or even two. That's interesting. And yeah, we can call our painting is done actually. It's winter landscape, and you can see with just a limited colors, with limited palette, we can make a beautiful painting, and we just need to know about the watercolor technique. And all the watercolor happen with the beautiful technique that it has. So hope you enjoy it, and see you next time.